The following review may contain spoilers. For anyone who grew up in the New York metropolitan area during the 1980s, this documentary probably really affected you on a personal level. I myself am from there and went to Action Park a few times as a kid, and of course watching this documentary was just infuriating. My family and friends and I could have died any single time we went there, and our government was doing nothing to protect us. I distinctly remember seeing that loop-de-loop water slide, and even as a child thinking, well, it must be safe because it would have been inspected. The documentary reveals this was not the case at all, and people were injured multiple times, even losing their teeth at the top of the loop. The owner of Action Park was a man named Gene Mulvihill. At one point of the documentary, they mentioned that he reached out to Donald Trump to be an investor. Trump took a look at the place and thought it was too unhinged. Let me repeat, this was too unhinged for even Donald Trump. Mulvihill, Trump, Harvey Weinstein, and many more like them are from the New York metropolitan area. These New York businessmen and their sense of entitlement and their lack of empathy and their insatiable greed, it just seems to be something that is not uniquely from New York, but it just seems to be on another level. So this film just really hit hard in a personal way. This film was really great with theme. It had two major themes going on throughout the film. The more minor theme was that of parenting during the 80s. They interviewed several adults who were reminiscing about their childhoods and were just talking about how their parents just let them be free and just go anywhere and do whatever they wanted, including, of course, attending the extremely dangerous Action Park. Since I'm in the same age group, it brought back vivid memories of my friends and I just riding our bikes all over Long Island. Sometimes we ride our bikes to towns 2 hours away just to go to our favorite comic book store. We didn't have helmets, and since we didn't have cell phones, our parents couldn't call to check on us, and I'm not even sure if they would have. Can any parents today even fathom letting their kids bike to a town 2 hours away and not know where the hell they even are? This theme was most profoundly conveyed by comedian Chris Gethard. He appears many times throughout the documentary, and the subtitle under his name is Park Guest, so it left me wondering why he was featured so much. And it's most likely because he just makes very profound statements about this type of parenting. Gethard says something to the effect of, when we talk about our childhoods in the 80s, that it's all funny and fucked up, but when we're with our shrinks, it's just fucked up. He articulates the sentiments perfectly, which is probably the reason why the filmmakers featured him so much. But of course, the main theme of the film is how the rich can get away with so much corruption. Action Park is really like a microcosm of all business in this country. How these rich men feel so entitled to do whatever they want, even if it comes down to people dying. It's all summed up best from this quote from the mother of one of the park's victims, George Larson. Gene Mulvihill never called us, never came to the hospital. He had no heart. He only cared about himself and the almighty dollar. And the end of the film has just a brilliant shot. George Larson's mother and brother visit his gravesite, and a sweeping crane shot or a drone shot pulls back as David Bowie's All the Mad Men plays into the credits. This is one of the most moving shots I've probably ever seen in a documentary. The segments involving the Larson family are so moving and powerful and make such a strong and profound statement against this kind of abuse of power from the rich that they make the documentary worth watching alone. One minor negative note, I guess there wasn't a lot of archival materials available about Action Park, because they reuse a lot of the same photos and video clips. There was one of a lady in a pink and black bathing suit using the Tarzan swing, which appeared several times, as well as a faded old newspaper picture of Mulvihill. They also use a lot of footage from a special episode of MTV Headbangers Ball shot at Action Park. This was an old heavy metal show that I watched regularly, which aired, I believe, at midnights on Saturdays. You know, if they're constantly dipping into this well, that they probably didn't have a lot of footage to work with at all. My final rating for Class Action Park is 3.5 stars. As of the making of this video, the Rotten Tomatoes percentage for Class Action Park is 95%, which is right on the money. Documentaries like these are just so important, muckraking at its best. Another example of how the rich and powerful can almost literally get away with anything. These filmmakers, Seth Porges and Chris Charles Scott III, are providing essential journalism, and I highly recommend this documentary.